samsaradava nalaliraloka tranaya karuna guna gunatvam praptasya kalyana gurnanavasya vande guru shri charanaravinda Mahaprabhu kirtana nitya gita vaditra madhyan manasorasena romanchakampa sutarangavajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Shri Vigrahara Dhananitya Nana Shingarathan Mandiramarjanado Yuktasya bhaktam saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasada Swadana Triptan Harivaksha Sanghan Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanamna Pratikshanaasvadanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Nikunjayono Ratikeli Sedhai Yayali Bir Yukti Rapekshaniya Tatra Tidakshara Vallavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda साक्षादारित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सर्वे किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादा भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादा न गति कुतोऽपि जयं स्तुवां स्तस्य यशा श्रीसाद्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसारी गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसारी गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Radhe. Jai Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe. Jai Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Jai Shnupada Brahmansa Padakacharya Shtota Shata Shishmatis Divine Grace Abharchana Rinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON PPTPI Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Shnupada Brahmansa Padakacharya Shtota Shata Shishmatis Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premise Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrajabhumi Vrindavandam Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapradam Ki Jai Shri Purushottam Cheto Jagnapuri Dam Ki Jai Shri Ayodhya Dam Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Samarita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai
Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Pralada Lada Daini Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Shilatantana Kalaye Ito Nasimha Parato Nasimha Yato yato yami tato nasimha Bahi nasimha rudhaye nasimha Narasimha madhim sharanam prapate Kara Kamalavare का अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुबिंगा केशवद्रीता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय पियाय केशव सचा विष्णु भक्ति पदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय पियाय केशव सचा विष्णु भक्ति पदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय पियाय केशव सचा विष्णु भक्ति पदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः। तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः। राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ये अभिलाषी। राधा कृष्णा सेवा पाओ ये अभिलाषी। जे तो मारा शरण लोय तारा वांछा पूर्ण होय। कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावनवासी। मोराए अभिलाष विलास कुंजे दियो वास। नयने हेरिबो सदा युगल रूप राशि। ए निवेदन धरो सखीर अनुगत करो। ए निवेदन धरो सखीर अनुगत करो। सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। दीन कृष्ण दासे को ये जेना मोरा होए। श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदाई न भाषी। श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदाई न भासी। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माहत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी. जय वृंदा देवी, जय वृंदा देवी, जय वृंदा देवी, जय वृंदा देवी.
O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire is in the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes charge of you has wished fulfilled. Please have mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavana. My desire also grant me residence in the precious groves of Shiva and Vrindavana town. Thus within my vision I shall behold the beautiful pastime Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow a careful dance of the versa. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always swim in the love of Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fences in the matter chant holy names should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods of Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant to Vedic version. 5. To consider glorious chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities and strength to chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the auspiciously chosen activities, offering the Vedas as free activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glorious holy name. 10. To not complete faith in chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after studying so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee claims to Vaishnava must have regard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve desired success, Krishna prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as I trees who can fulfill to everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto darpana marjanam pavamaha davagni nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pradipadam Purnamida Sadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakalaha Etadishi Tavakripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudevami Disham Iha Janina Nuragaha Trinatapi Sunijena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadaharihi Nathanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Gamaye Mama Jammani Jamanishvare Bhavata Bhaktira Haituki Tavayi Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Han Vishame Bhavam Puto Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Tuli Satwisham Vichintaya Nayanam Karata Shurutharaya Vadanam Katgata Rudaya Gira Pulaka Nichitam Vapurkada Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishati Yuga Itam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravisha Itam Shunya Itam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name Ashirishava Padratam Pinnastuma Adarshanam Marmahatam Karotuva Yatha Tatava Vitatatu Lampato Matprana Natastu Saeva Naparaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes fire of conditional life for repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction of humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benediction human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendent names are vested in your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast through the chanting these names. O my Lord, our kindness enables us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Marginanda Krishna, I'm eternal servitor. Yet somehow I fall into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me at one ardent lotus feet. O my Lord, while my eyes spectacular tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, while my voice choke up or hairs my body stand at the recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling of separation, I'm considered a moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord. He shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Shri Mangala Charna prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Mritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitam Scha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pajadete Shatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadaya Shri Rupanuka Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Mudeye Dina Darine Rupanuga Viruddha Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sasha Vairagya Mudeye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravya Bhava Bhumistvam Yadishta Sajanapriyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannatha Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Pyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishin Namaha Pancha Tattvatamkam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pango Mamamanda Materkati Masarva Swapadam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindadanya Kalpadyo Mata Shimadra Nagara Sinhasanastho Shimadradha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtari Bi Sevyamano Smarami Shiman Rasa Rasarambi Vamshiva Tata Stitaha Karsham Venu Soner Gopir Gopinatha Shiyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Mangala Charna prayers ki jai. Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadyaradya Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasukalpa Viksha Raksha Riteshu Surabhi Rabi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasa Shatasam Brahmasevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Venum Kavanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham Parhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Gantarpa Goti Gamaniya Vishesha Shopam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Alola Chandakala Savanamara Vamshi Ranangadam Panayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tibanga Lalitam Yatapakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vriddhimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimmaya Sadujala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha เวเดโชตุลบัมมตุลบัมอาตมปักโตโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิปันทาสตุโคทิชตวัสสรสัมปรกามิววายุรธาพิมนโสมุนิปังกวานัมโสภิยสติยปปะตสิมิยวิจินตตัตเวโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิเอโคพิยสรชยิตุมจักตันตโคติมยาจักติรัสติจักตันทชยายตันตหะอันตันทรัสทะปรมานุชยันตรัสธัมโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิยัดภาวะภาวิทติโยมนุจาสทเทวะสัมพราเพรูปมหิมาสนยานปูชาสุขเทยมเอวนิกมะปฏิตายสตุวันติโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิอานันตชิมเมรสปฏิภาวิตาปิสตาเพเอวันจรูปตยาคลาภิหิโกโลกเอวนิวสัตเทคิลาธมบูโตโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิพรีมันจนะชุรุทภักทิวิโลชเนนะสันตสเตวะหิตเยชุวิโลกยันติยัมชามสุนดมชินเตกุณสวรูปัมโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิรามาดิมุติชุขลานิยเมนทิชทันนานาวตารมคโรภุวเนชุคินตุคริชนาสวยัมสัมปวัตพรมภุมามโยโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิยัสสะพระบาปปวัตโตจักตันตโคติโกติชเชชวิสุทาดิวิบูติบินนัมทัตประมานิชกลัมอนันตมเชชภูตัมโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิมายาหิยัสสะจักตันทชตานิสุเตไตรกุณยทัตวิเชเวตาวิตายมานะสัตวาวลัมปิภรสัตวัมวิชุตสัตวัมโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิอานันตชิมเมรสัตมทยมนสุยาพรานินามปฏิพลังสมรตังอุเปตยาลีลาอิเตนะปุวนานิจเทจัสรัมโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิโกโลกนามนินิจตามนิทะเลชตัสสะเทวีมเหชหริตามสุเทชุเทชุเตเทประภาวนิชยาวิหิตาสเจเยนะโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิชิสติสติธิพลายสาตนชักเทเรกาชาเยวยัสเสปุวนานิปิปาร์ติดุกาอิชานุรูปเมเพสชาเชชเทสาโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิชิรัมยถาตติวิการวิเศษโยกาสัญจายเทนะหิทัทพิตากสติเหโตยาชัมปุถัมมพิทัทาสมุปัยทิคารยาตโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิติภาชเอวหิตชันธรรมอาภิเปตยาติปายเทวิริตเหตุสมารณดารมายาสธาตุกเอวหิจาวิชนุตยาวิภาติโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิยาคารนารนาวจเลปัจติสมโยกนิตรามนันทจักตันทสโรมคุปะอาดารชักติมอวลัมเปียปารามสวมุติมโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิยัสไยขณิชวสิตคาลมตาวลัมเปียจีวันทิโลมวิรจาจักตันตนาถาวิชนุมหันสอิหยัสกลาวิเศษโชโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิปาสวังยถาชมชักเรชุนิเจชุเทจะสุยัมขิยัตประคตยัตเถปิตัตวตัตระประมายเอชจักตันตวิตานคารตาโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิยัตปาตภาลวยุกัมวินิตายคุมบะตวนดวยพระนามสมัยเยสกนาธิราชวิกนังเวหันตุมลัมเอเสจักตรยัสสะโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิอักเนียมหิกกนัมอัมบุมารุติชัสจะคาลาสตถาตมมนสีทิจักตรยานิยัสมาภวันติวิภวันติวิชันติยัมจะโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิยาชักชุเอชสวิตาสคลกรหานัมราชาสัมมัสตสุรมุทิเชชเทจายัสยกิญญาประมาทิสัมปริตกาลจักโรโกวินดมาดิปุรุชัมธรรมหัมปจามิตารโมทภาปัญชยชุทยัสทพัมสีประมาติคีตปตกาวตยาสจีวายาตตมาทรวิภวะภคตปรปาวะโก Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Yastrinda Gopamatarinda Mahosa Karma Pandanurupa Parabajanam Atanoti Karma Ninyirta Hati Kintucha Bhakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Yam Karota Kama Sahaja Panayadi Biti Vasarya Moha Guru Gaurava Sevya Bhavehi Sanchintya Tasya Satvishinam Tanur Aparete Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Duruma Bhumi Chinta Mani Ganamayi Toya Amritam Kathakanam Natyam Kamanam Ampi Vamshi Priya Sakhi Chidanandam Jyotir Paramapi Tada Swadhyam Api Cha Sayatra Kshirabdi Sarvati Surabhi Piyascha Sumahan Nimeshar Darkuva Vrajati Nahi Yatrapi Samayaha Pajeshri Tadvipam Tamaham Iha Golokam Itiyam Vedanta Ste Santakshiti Virachara Katipaye Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is not Govinda, the Supreme Godhead, he has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and is prime cause of all the causes.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes filled with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of love, hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cubits.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss to its substantiality and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama, by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis, who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra-suktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed by the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confident Sakhis, the embodiments of the extensions of her body, our bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyama Sundara Krishna himself with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna, the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, etc., and as his subjective portions.
Sri Brahma
Samhita ki jai.
Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Shrinvatam swakatham Krishna punya shravana kirtana hrudayantasya bhadrani vidnoti shrutat satam nashta yeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki tada rajastamo bhava kama lobhade yasya चेतयेतेर अनाविधम स्थितम सत्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवद् भक्ति योगतः भगवत् तत्व विज्ञानम मुक्त संगस्य जायते विद्रते हृदये ग्रन्थिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्व संशयः क्षीयन्ते चस्य कर्माणि दृष्ट्वा एवात्मनीश्वरे.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears in about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes then living by devotional service, understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of a samsaya samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita 1.2, Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 3. Oh. Cool.
therefore, they do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord, what to speak of the Lord's incarnation as the worshipable hog. Now just imagine you go today, and you meet someone and you say that you know that God has appeared in the form of a transcendental hog. Do you think they would believe you? They would never believe you. They'd say, that's ridiculous, this is nonsense, I don't want to hear any more of this. So, you see, and these, that could be some of the most advanced philosophers or scientists or just an ordinary man on the street. They would not believe you. They would say, this is crazy, this is nonsense, how can a pig be God? Well, this is the problem of people who don't chant Hare Krishna, who don't engage in devotional service, who don't hear the words of pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada. They're just concerned every day waking up, drinking their coffee, rushing out to work, and then going to Costco, and then coming back home, and then cooking and cleaning and eating, and just not at all thinking at all about how the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared in this wonderful, amazing form as Varaha. So this whole section of Bhagavad Gita is about the appearance of Lord Varaha. Now, what is actually going on here? Prabhupada is helping us have a transcendental understanding of who Krishna is and how he has unlimited forms. That right there is a big obstacle for our believe that nobody can do it, even God, right? Because we can't do it, then God can't do it. But that's not true. And this is what's hard to understand, that Krishna can do things that nobody else can do. That's impossible to emulate. So, therefore, in this purport, it says, they, meaning the Veda Vadis, do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of the Lord's incarnation as a worshipable hog? See, the Muslims, they reject the idea, they reject hog or pig. Couldn't eat it. So they forbid their followers to eat pigs. Of course, in America, there are a lot of pig eaters. All over the world, there's a lot of pig eaters, but Muslims forbid it. It's like the worst things. So you can imagine how difficult it is for a Muslim to understand anything about Krishna, because when they read this, they say, what? You're worshiping a pig? You say, that's what happens when you're not associating with devotee who's completely surrendered to the Lord.
Hare Krishna, can you, those of you on the call, can you please go on mute? Madhurya Leela Mataji? Ribol?
Okay, well, you can always have some. All right, so the Vedavadis, they describe the worship of the different forms or incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. Now that's a big, big word, anthropomorphism, right? What does this word mean? It means that they project their perceptions onto whatever they're seeing. So they, just like in this case, the Vedavadaratis, although they claim to be strict followers of the Vedas, They do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. So, Lord has many incarnations, right? Not only as a hog or a gigantic pig, but he appears in every species of life. They're all, and he assumes transcendental bodies in every species of life because he's the Lord of everyone and everything. So he can appear as a hog, he can appear as a snake, he can appear in any form he wants. And it's not material, it's transcendental and spiritual and it's worshipable. This is impossible for people who are eating meat and having illicit sex to understand. They can't understand this. And we shouldn't be surprised that people are just bewildered and flummoxed when they come in contact with Krishna conscious philosophy because it's very, very difficult for them to accept such things because we're immersed in ignorance. We are all in illusion in this material world. Now, does that mean our situation is hopeless? No. It's not hopeless if we hear on a regular basis the knowledge of Krishna consciousness or who is Krishna. But if we don't hear anything and we just go along merrily in our life, eating, sleeping, and mating, we'll never understand anything. No matter how many books you read, no matter how many, and reading those books, you'll stop reading those books. You'll say, this is all nonsense. I'm not going to read this anymore. You see. And that's the great, shameful position of most people in this world today. They don't accept the Vedic literature. They think it's a barbaric literature. This was what the British were teaching Hindus, that your scriptures are barbaric. They're not bona fide. Only the Bible is bona fide. And then they'll take examples like this. You think that God is a pig. You see how vicious they are. Yeah, he can be a pig. He can be anything he wants to be because he's transcendental. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. If you say he can't do that, then you're blaspheming God. So they're just stuck on Jesus, and they incorrectly give some form of Jesus, and sometimes they have statues of Jesus and so forth. But if you put Varaha on the altar, they'll say, "What is this? What's going on here? Take that away. Throw it away. We don't. You mean we're going to have to worship a pig? That's not Christianity." Well, that's true. It's not Christianity because Christianity has many flaws and many mistakes. But you cannot limit Krishna. We, as human beings, we want to bring Krishna down to our level of life, which is basically like an animal, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. What can we know of transcendental existence? Nothing at all. You have to be transcendental to understand what it means to be to have a transcendental body. Krishna can change his form into anything he wants, and he can do anything that seems to be impossible for an ordinary human being. Of course, he's God. He has unlimited powers. We don't have unlimited powers. When he appears as baby Krishna or a young boy, people don't believe it. They say, no, that's not God. He's got a white beard and he's got some wrinkles and he's very, a profound person and he's older and that's the way they present God. Now, if you go to the Sistine Chapel in Rome, I've been there myself, and there's a gigantic room where they portray God and the Christians and the Catholics. And the way they portray God is an old man. He's got wrinkles. and he's got white hair, and he, and right away the Christians have got it wrong. God never gets old. He's always a young boy, about 16 or 20 years old, and that's the point. He never grows old. They present God as an old person. So you see how they're trying to. Their greatest scholars are speculating. They're not really able to understand who God is, so they speculate. The Muslims, at least, are a little bit more honest. They say, look, you can't make any form of God. Don't even try. Just believe that we just believe that there is God, but we cannot imagine what his form is. Well, that's a mistake also. Why? Because they don't have any real, let's say, gurus. They have their gurus are limited by what you would call impersonalism. The Muslims are definitely impersonal. They don't understand the infinite powers that Krishna has. One time I was speaking with a Muslim, and I asked him, I said, do you believe God has a form? He said, no. I said, you just insulted God. He said, what is that? What do you mean I insulted God? I said, you basically said that I have something that God doesn't have. And that's not possible, because God has everything we have and more, So you just insulted him. So he didn't know what to say. He was tongue-tied after that, and he didn't really want to talk to me anymore. Right? Now imagine a Christian. You're trying to preach to a Christian, and a Christian says, "Well, what do you know about God?" And you say, "Well, we believe he's a pig." He said, "What? What do you mean he's a pig?" Well, he's not an ordinary pig. He's a transcendental pig. He said, "What's a transcendental pig?" They can't understand. For them, it's impossible to understand this. Because they're eating meat, because they're engaging in illicit activities, without even knowing that they're illicit activities. When you talk to a Muslim or you talk to a Christian, and you say that you shouldn't eat meat, they say, "Why do you say that? In our religion, we're allowed to eat meat." So see, there's so many obstacles for these people, and then the atheists, there's obstacles for them also. They say, "You see, you believe that God is a pig." It just shows that you don't know what you're talking about. You see, so right from the beginning, it's impossible for them to understand who Krishna is. So you have to be careful when you're preaching, not to let's say shock people too much. Gradually, they can understand who Krishna is, because he has unlimited powers, and unlimited powers means he can assume any form he wants, and he's still the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's the Father of all living entities, not just human beings, all living entities, from the ant all the way up to Vivaswan, the God of the solar system, or the sun. So they can't understand these things because they don't have any means of comprehending who Krishna is, because their scriptures have no real information about who Krishna is. And one Muslim man I was talking to once, he was a very educated Muslim, and I said, "You believe God has a form?" He said, "Well, we don't have that information in our Quran." See, now, he didn't get upset. He was educated, a very highly educated man, and he told the truth. We don't have that information in our Quran. It's not there. But we have that information in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. See, so there's a big difference. And little by little, you have to let them understand that they don't have the information. And they're never going to have the information unless they come to Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so there it says, they describe worship of the different forms of incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. So, in other words, anthropomorphism is you're a human being and you hear about some type of incarnation like Varaha, and you try and project your limited form and limited activities and limited intellect on the form of Varaha, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all because we can't change our body into the form of Varaha, and we can't do what Varaha does. You know, go down to the lowest part of the universe and pick up the Earth planet that's fallen down into the Garbadak Ocean and pick it up and put it back in its orbit. Now, all that is incomprehensible for the materialists, you see. So now you might say, well, how are we going to preach to people? How are we going to make them understand these things that even we're having difficulty understanding? That's the point. You have to become engaged regularly every day in hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord. Otherwise, even we will find these things incomprehensible, you know, because we're engaged in so-called mundane activities every day, right? Cooking, cleaning, driving here, driving there, listening to the news, and you're in no position, if that's a part of your daily, let's say, life, of understanding the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. You're in no position because you have no way of imagining that God can take the form of a gigantic pig and lift up the earth. The fact that the earth fell out of its orbit is again something unimaginable. It's something that's very difficult to accept. But it did actually happen, and it could happen again. So we see that there are many obstacles for people to understand who Krishna is. Therefore, it says here, 7th chapter, 15th verse, Namam Duskritina Mudha Prapadyante Naradama Maya Aprita Jnana Asuram Bhavam Asritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So this probably is about 98, 99%, maybe even more than that, of people in the world today. They are what you would call grossly foolish miscreants. Miscreants means they're committing sins all the time, unknowingly or knowingly. And they're what you would call the lowest among mankind. See? So when Prabhupada went to Moscow and he met Professor Kotarsky, who was a Vedantist. He was a Vedantist. He was a lecturer in the university in Moscow. And he told Prabhupada, when you die, it's all over. It's nothing. And he's teaching Vedic knowledge to Russian kids. So you see, it's like hopeless. And Prabhupada was surprised because this guy's a Vedantist. He studied the Vedas, so called. Right? So what they do is, one time there was a man who wanted to have a tattoo of a chicken on his back. So he took his shirt off and he was sitting like this, and then the tattooist started. I mean, I don't know if you ever got a tattoo. I never got a tattoo myself, but they have to stick this pin into your skin, and then shoot some ink into it or something, right? So the tattooist started, and he picked into the skin of the person who wanted to have the tattoo, and he wanted to have a tattoo of a chicken on his back, right? So when he goes like this, like that, and the man said, "Oh, that hurts," and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm starting to make the head of the chicken." He said, "Why don't you just leave that out? It's too hard. It's too painful." He said, "Okay." So then he went like that, and the guy said, "Oh, what's that?" He said, "Well, now I'm trying to show the right wing of the chicken." He said, "Leave it out. It's too painful." And finally, the artist threw down his pen, and he said, "Look, even God can't make the type of chicken that you want." So this is what's going on in the material world. Everything is too painful for the materialist when it comes to understanding God, because they're so immersed in ignorance that there are many levels of ignorance. It's just like being in a tsunami, or being in a building that collapses, right? And then you get covered with so many bricks and dust and things like that, and they might be able to communicate with you because you have your cell phone, and they say, "How you doing?" So, "Well, I can't see anything, and I'm stuck here underneath all these bricks, and you got to help me." And so that's the way people are. They're completely covered by ignorance. And you want to explain these things to them, that God can take the form of a transcendental pig. They can't. There's no way that they're going to accept. No way, right? Unless they are submissively hearing every day. That's the position of a genuine devotee. The devotee submissively hears and asks questions. That way, little by little, and by giving up eating meat and gambling and illicit sex and all those things, little by little they become purified, and then gradually they begin to believe these things and understand these things. So, therefore, in this verse, in the purport, uh, it says that the Vedavada Ratis were the so-called strict followers of the Vedas. They do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord, what to speak of the Lord's incarnation as the worshipable hog. Now, just imagine that. Let's say you go to a Christian church and you see some kind of picture of Jesus Christ, right? What do you think the people would do if you took that picture of Jesus away and put up the picture of what? You could just see they would go crazy. They would be really upset and go crazy and say your religion is nonsense, and throw you out, and therefore you have to be very careful when you're preaching, because if you start preaching by saying that God it takes the form of a pig, they're going to immediately check out and go away. They're not going to believe you. Okay, so the Vedavada Ratis, or so-called strict followers of Vedas, they do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. Now, these are people that study the Vedas. These are people who study the Vedas. Vedavada Ratis. They're supposed to be experts in the Vedas. They do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. That means these are the people who teach Sanskrit and who teach about the Vedas in colleges, just like Professor Kotovsky, right? They are highly educated. They can speak Sanskrit, and they teach it, and they're experts in grammar and everything. And they actually are atheists. You know, by the way, in Tirupati, yes, Tirupati, right? Most of the teachers are Mayavadis. In fact, almost all of them are Mayavadis. They're the ones that are teaching new generations of kids to be, scholars. It's really sad. So they do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of the Lord's incarnation as the worshipable Hog? They describe worship of the different forms or incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. In other words, they project their limited capabilities onto the God. Say, so they say, well, God has a form. I have a form. That means that I can become God myself, right? So they are projecting their limitations on God. And that's called anthropomorphism. They project their limitations on what they're seeing. Just like once there were two fish, and they were looking at the moon, and one fish said to the other fish, "Hey, what's that up there?" And the other fish said, "It's a fish." He said, "How do you know it's a fish?" He said, "Well, I know it's a fish because it's a fish." He said, "Oh, now I understand." This is what's going on, right? Okay, so therefore, they do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of the Lord's incarnation as the worshipable Hog. They describe worship of the different forms or incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. In other words, they're projecting their limitations on what they're seeing, rather than trying to understand what they're seeing based on basic knowledge. We don't really see the truth with our eyes. We can understand the truth through our ears if we hear Vedic knowledge spoken by genuine devotees. You see, seeing is not believing, because there's a lot of things that you see that are illusory representation. All the time, we get fooled because our seeing ability is limited, very limited. But if you hear transcendental knowledge from bona fide devotees, then you can begin to see things correctly. Without hearing from bona fide devotees, our seeing and even our hearing is all imperfect, and we'll never be able to understand. And you can take an example. You can go with this verse today and read it to someone at school or at work. They would think you're crazy, and they would think your religion is barbaric. That's what the British were teaching Hindus for at least 4 or 5 generations, that the Vedic literature was all barbaric. It was not bona fide. Only the Bible was bona fide. And they would take examples like this, that you think God is a pig, then how can that be bona fide? And if you don't know anything, that you would say, well, you're right. I'm not going to listen to this anymore. No, listen to the Vedas, because they're not bona fide. They say crazy things like God is a pig. Okay, so it says they describe worship of the different forms or incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. In other words, they try and project their limited, let's say, capability onto what they're seeing, like the form of Varaha or different forms of the Lord. They project their, let's say, limited capabilities on what they're seeing or hearing. Okay. They describe worship of the different forms or incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. In the estimation of Srimad Bhagavatam, these men are miscreants. Miscreant means they're like sinful. they're performing all kinds of sinful activities, and they're making up sinful theories. And in Bhagavad Gita 7:15, they're all called not only miscreants, but also fools and the lowest of mankind. So you could go to school today, and you could tell the teacher, "Good morning. Do you know you're the lowest of mankind?" And he would be telling the truth. He'd be telling you, and they'd be shocked right away. Of course, don't do that because they'd be shocked. But it's a fact. They're the lowest of mankind. They don't believe that God has incarnations. They don't believe in so many things that we are taught in Bhagavad Gita. And they would say, that's all crazy, it's all nonsense, I don't want to hear it. Okay, so in the estimation of Srimad Bhagavatam, these men are miscreants, and in Bhagavad Gita 7:15, they're called not only miscreants, but also fools and the lowest of mankind. And it is said that their knowledge has been plundered by illusion due to their atheistic temperament. Their atheistic temperament is they are almost by nature unbelievers. Okay, so and if we go to the seventh chapter, 15th verse, Bhagavad Gita, those miscreants who are foolish, grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not understand me. That's a description of about 99% plus of human beings today. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes, it is said in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, the Supreme Personality Krishna, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. Now that's an amazing statement. That means if you can surrender completely at the lotus feet of Krishna, you become transcendental to the laws of material nature. What are the laws of material nature? Birth, old age, disease, and death. At this point, a question arises. How is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators, and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna? Now this is a very valid question. How come all these so-called great people don't accept Krishna and don't surrender to Krishna? There must be something wrong with us. We're in a big minority, right? And we're accepting these things, and they don't accept it at all. And they're big guys, they're big women, right? How is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators, and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the all-powerful personality of Godhead? Mukti, or liberation from the laws of material nature, is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if that liberation is possible by simply surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why don't these intelligent and hardworking leaders adopt this simple method? Good question. If all you have to do is just surrender to Krishna and hear about him every day from bona fide devotees who are simply repeating what's in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and then you can become transcendental also, then why don't people do it? Prabhupada answers. He says, the Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society, like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, and Kumaras, and Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlada, Bali, and later on, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya, and many others who are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, etc., surrender to the lotus feet of the Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority, those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, etc., but who pose themselves as such for material gain, do not accept the plan or path of the Supreme Lord. They have no idea of God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans and consequently complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because material energy or nature is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of planning commissions. And a perfect example of this is the attempt to go to the moon. They've been trying to go to the moon for the last 50 years. And they haven't done it. They claimed they did it 50 years ago, and then for 50 years they didn't try. And now again they're trying. And they're never going to get to the moon, because the moon is a different planet, there's a different atmosphere, and so forth. So you see, what Prabhupada is saying here is true. He says, because the material energy or nature is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of planning commissions. Yeah, they had big plans to go to the moon. Didn't happen. They never did go to the moon. Although they claimed they did 50 years ago or more, they never really did it. And they didn't try for 50 years. Now they're trying again. They still haven't done it, and they're still not going to be able to do it. The atheistic plan makers are described herein by the word duskritina, or miscreants. Kriti means one who has performed meritorious work. The atheistic plan maker is sometimes very intelligent and meritorious also, because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called duskriti, which indicates that his intelligence and efforts are misdirected. Now, the main point to take from this sentence is there's a plan of the Supreme Lord. There's a plan of the Lord. And the miscreants are opposed to that plan. They're not interested in it. What is the plan? Krishna's plan is by coming himself into the earth, planet, and demonstrating his pastimes, or other transcendental personalities doing the same thing, is to help everyone go back to Godhead, where they came from. That's the plan of the Lord. He wants everybody to come back to Vaikuntha, because we were all there before, and we walked away voluntarily, being attracted to things in the material world, like Teslas and rockets and all different types of sense gratification, eating pigs and different things like that. We got attracted to it, and because of that we fell down, and now we're covered by illusion. Everything we're doing is illusory. Why? Well, because there's sat and asat. Sat is things that are eternal, and asat are things that are not eternal. We're mostly, if you let's say you're not a devotee, then not just mostly, everything you do is illusory. Why? Because everything you're doing and everything you're accumulating, you will lose it, especially with death. Then you realize, wait a minute, it was all illusion. It's like a dream. There was this one man, when he was young, he fell in love with Matahari. Matahari was a lady that actually existed. You can look her up in and she was a very pretty lady. She dressed like a Hindu goddess, right? And this is about 150 years ago. She was very into Hinduism, and she was a prostitute on top of all that. but she dressed like a Vedic goddess. And he fell in love with her, and he had illicit activities with her. And then, basically she dumped him. And the rest of his life, he was always thinking of her, couldn't get her out of his mind. And he died thinking of her. This is how dangerous material life is, right? You're looking up Matahari? Prabhu? Let's finish. Okay. All right, well, we'll finish for today in a minute. I'll just say a few words about Matahari. So did you find Matahari?
Yes.
What does it say?
Matahari, this is a Margarita, a true diamond store, better known by the stage name Matahari.
You see, they take names in Hindu names.
Matahari.
She dressed like a Hindu goddess, right? Right. And she was a prostitute.
The Dutch dancer and courtesan whose name
Courtesan means she's a prostitute.
has become synonymous with the seductive female spy.
Synonymous with what?
Seductive,
Oh, seductive. No,
Selective female spy.
female what?
Spy. She was actually a spy.
Oh, yes, she was a spy. She's a double spy. She spied with one side and she spied on the other side. And then she eventually got caught and then she was murdered by the Nazis. I think it was the Nazis that murdered her. Yeah. But she, dressed like a Hindu goddess. At some times, not all the time, but sometimes. And she was a very, very beautiful lady. But she was engaged in all kinds of illicit activities. Okay, I think we'll stop there today and pick it up again tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can send an email with your questions, and I'll try and answer them. All glories. Yes. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you all for joining, and as Maharaj said, feel free to email to Maharaj and we'll try to get him to answer those questions tomorrow.
thank you.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma बंधु मुहि सावधान माटे जहरा प्रसादे बाय ए बाबा तोरिया जाय कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो जा होते कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो जा होते गुरुमुखा पद्मा वक्या चिते ते कोरिया आज्ञा आरना कोरी हो माने आशा श्री गुरु चराने रति ऐसे उत्तम गति जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्वा आशा
जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्व
जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते आवेद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते आवेद्या विनाश जाते वेदिका जहर चरित वेदिका जहर चरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आगम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आगम जनार बंधु लोकेनाथ लोके राजीवाना लोकेनाथ लोके राजीवाना
প্রভু করো দয়া দেহ মোরে পাদা ছায়া হা হা প্রভু করো দয়া দেহ মোরে পাদা ছায়া এবে যাস ঘোষক ত্রিভুবানা এবে যাস ঘোষক ত্রিভুবানা শিলা প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবনা জয় প্রভুপাদা জয় প্রভুপাদা জয় প্রভুপাদা জয় প্রভুপাদা Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashaitya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Chaitanya Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Chaitanya Nityananda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of mercy, suffering, and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and he fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. O spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto me. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Ki Jai.